Hi friends, welcome back. In this short presentation, you will learn the basic approach to anemia so that you feel confident while managing the patients in OPD. If you want deep understanding, I would recommend you to watch detailed lecture on anemia which is available on our channel. Do check out our Harrison based revision videos which are available on MediLectures app to revise the core units of Harrison in 35 hours of video content. This course is currently priced at ₹1,999 only. Now starting the lecture with a case, a 28-year-old female presents with fatigue, palpitations and breathlessness on exertion for 2 months. She has pica and heavy menstrual bleeding. On examination, heart rate is 104, conjunctiva is pale, there is a systolic murmur. Patient is poor and can't afford costly workup. So what all investigations would you order? Now let's discuss and see how actually we approach a patient with anemia. Before jumping to the cause, we must first confirm that anemia is actually present using standard definitions. So anemia is basically decrease in RBC mass or hemoglobin concentration. So what is the WHO criteria? It is defined as hemoglobin less than 13 gram per deciliter in men, less than 12 gram in women and less than 11 gram in pregnancy. Before going to the approach, let's discuss how the patient will present to you. So symptoms of anemia include fatigue, dyspnea, palpitations, cold intolerance, headache, tinnitus, etc. When we consider the signs, these include pallor, which is usually seen in bulbar conjunctiva, also can be seen in tongue. There will be tachycardia, flow murmur can be heard. Koilonychia is specific for iron deficiency. Then glossitis, angular cheilitis can also be seen. Now there are some clues which can identify the cause of anemia. Like example, if jaundice is present, it can be suggestive of hemolysis. If there is associated neuropathy, vitamin B12 deficiency can be the cause. If the patient is complaining of bone pain and also have splenomegaly, we have to rule out hematological malignancy. So when a patient presents to you with typical symptoms, you examine there are typical signs of anemia, you will order CBC first. So to confirm anemia, we will check the hemoglobin of the patient which is given in CBC report. Also, this report usually mentions some RBC parameters like MCV, MCH, MCHC. By looking at MCV, we get a rough idea regarding the cause of anemia. So according to MCV, if the MCV is less than 80 femtoliters, it is microcytic. If it is 80 to 100, it is normocytic. If it is more than 100, it is macrocytic anemia. Now, very important next step is to see the reticulocyte count and calculate the reticulocyte production index. So why it is important to calculate the production index? Because it will adjust retic count for anemia severity and marrow response, maturation of reticulocytes. So what is the formula of RPI? It is retic percentage multiplied by hematocrit of the patient divided by normal hematocrit, that is 45, and this whole is divided by retic maturation time, which is kept as 2. So if this RPI is coming out to be less than 2.5, there is inadequate marrow response. Marrow is not able to produce enough reticulocytes in response to anemia. This can be in hyperproliferative anemia or some maturation disorder. If RPI is more than equal to 2.5, the marrow response is adequate, which can be due to hemolysis or blood loss. So this is the approach to anemia given in Harrison. First, the patient comes, we order CBC retic count, calculate RPI. If RPI is more than 2.5, the cause is usually hemolysis or hemorrhage, which can be due to blood loss, intravascular hemolysis, some metabolic defect like G6PD deficiency, some membrane abnormality like hereditary spherocytosis, some hemoglobinopathy, then immune-mediated destruction of RBCs and fragmentation hemolysis like microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. If RPI is less than 2.5, then we will see red cell morphology. If morphology is normocytic normochromic, it is due to hypoproliferative anemia. If the morphology is either microcytic or macrocytic, there is some maturation disorder. So examples of hypoproliferation include marrow damage due to infiltration fibrosis or aplastic anemia. Then early iron deficiency also leads to hyperproliferation. Then there can be decreased stimulation of marrow due to inflammation in anemia of chronic disease, some metabolic defect, and decreased erythropoietin in renal disease. Micro or macrocytic anemia have causes likewise. So maturation disorder can be due to iron deficiency, thalassemia, sideroblastic. These will lead to microcytosis, while nuclear defects leading to macrocytosis occur due to folate deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency, some drug toxicity, and myelodysplastic syndrome. So simplifying this classification, we have decreased production, which will have decreased RPI. The causes include nutritional causes like iron deficiency, B12, folate deficiency, then anemia of chronic disease, CKD leading to decreased erythropoietin stimulation, and bone marrow disorders like aplastic anemia and MDS. So these conditions will have normocytic normochromic, while these conditions will have either microcytic or macrocytic anemia. Macrocytic anemia. Increased destruction, which will again have increased RPI, can be seen with hemolytic anemias. Then blood loss will also lead to increased RPI, which can be acute blood loss due to trauma or GI bleed, and chronic blood loss due to menorrhagia, hookworm, ulcers, etc. Now menorrhagia can also lead to iron deficiency anemia, which will be microcytic hypochromic anemia, and this will lead to low RPI, while menorrhagia can also lead to increased blood loss, which can be stimulatory for bone marrow, leading to increased RPI. Likewise, looking at the MCV, we can again classify anemia into microcytic, normocytic, and macrocytic. Microcytic causes include CETA-L, that is sideroblastic anemia, iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, anemia of chronic disease, and lead poisoning. Normocytic include anemia of chronic disease, CKD, early iron deficiency, marrow failure, as we have discussed in the flowchart from Harrison. And macrocytic causes include B12 or folate deficiency, myelodysplasia, liver disease, alcohol, hypothyroidism, and drugs like methotrexate and azathioprine. So basically these will inhibit nucleus maturation, leading to macrocytosis. So what all diagnostic tools do we have in OPD? We can go with CBC with indices. We can see MCV in CBC. Also we can see red cell distribution width. Now this RDW tells about uniformity of RBC shape and size. Normal value is 11.5 to 14.5, and in iron deficiency there is anisocytosis, and poikilocytosis there is variation in size and shape of the RBC. So this RDW in iron deficiency anemia is usually more than 14.5. Then we can see reticulocyte count, and very important is RPI to see the marrow response. Smear shows some morphological clues which we will discuss. Iron studies to diagnose iron deficiency, B12 and folate status for macrocytic anemia, LDH, bilirubin, and Coombs test for hemolysis. So LDH and bilirubin, typically indirect bilirubin will be increased in hemolysis, and Coombs test will be positive in autoimmune hemolytic anemia. If these testing is negative and we are suspecting hypoproliferative disorder, or there is pancytopenia or bicytopenia, we will have to go for bone marrow aspiration or biopsy. Now let's discuss some common causes of anemia. So coming on to iron deficiency, it is the most common anemia worldwide. Causes include menorrhagia. In men, GI bleed, and dietary deficiency is very rare. When we consider labs, there will be decreased serum iron, decreased ferritin, but total iron binding capacity will be increased. This parameter will help us differentiate it from anemia of chronic disease. Smear will show microcytosis, hypochromic cells, and typical pencil cells. So this is the smear of iron deficiency anemia showing microcytosis. There is variation in shape and size of RBCs, which is anisocytosis and poikilocytosis. There will be increased RDW in CBC. Also, this typical pencil cell is characteristic of iron deficiency anemia. Now, second microcytic anemia is anemia of chronic disease. It is seen in chronic infections, autoimmune disease, and malignancy. What happens is there are inflammatory cytokines which stimulates the production of hepcidin. As we all know, hepcidin negatively regulates ferroportin, which inhibits the absorption of mucosal iron into the bloodstream. So there will be decreased iron release from stores. Anemia of chronic disease can be both normocytic or microcytic, and in labs iron will be decreased, ferritin will be normal or high, but TIBC will be decreased. There will be decreased total iron binding capacity. This will differentiate it from iron deficiency anemia. Coming on to macrocytic anemia. So causes include B12, folate deficiency, myelodysplasia, liver disease and drugs. So before discussing this, we need to understand that B12 is required for two reactions: conversion of homocysteine to methionine and conversion of methyl malonic acid to succinyl coenzyme A. Now, folic acid is also required for this first reaction. So, folic acid is also required for conversion of homocysteine to methionine. Now, in B12 deficiency, there will be increased MMA, methyl malonic acid, as well as homocysteine. But in folate deficiency, only homocysteine will be elevated in blood and urine. B12 deficiency has associated neuropathy. Folate deficiency usually occurs due to dietary deficiency, especially in alcoholic patient. We have to suspect myelodysplasia in elderly patients who have dysplastic cells on peripheral smear. Liver disease typically shows target cells, and drugs which can lead to macrocytic anemia include methotrexate, azathioprine, as well as hydroxyurea. So this is the smear showing target cell. These are ring-like cells in the center which are common in liver disease as well as thalassemia. Coming on to some causes of hemolytic anemia. So in lab there will be increased retic percent, there will be increased RPI more than equal to 2.5, LDH unconjugated bilirubin all will be elevated, but haptoglobin will be decreased. Now haptoglobin is more decreased in intravascular hemolysis as compared to extravascular hemolysis. Although it is decreased in both, but it is more reduced in intravascular hemolysis. The types of hemolytic anemia include defects in intrinsic RBC. Either in membrane there is some enzyme defect or hemoglobin defect. There can be extrinsic defect which can lead to autoimmune destruction of RBC. There can be mechanical destruction or destruction of RBC due to infections like malaria. There can be some clues in the smear which can tell the cause of hemolysis. So if spirocytes are seen, the cause can be autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Cystocytes can be seen in microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, and Bite cell and Heinz bodies can be seen in G6PD deficiency. So this first image is showing spirocytes which can be seen with AIHA. Second, this helmet cells or schistocytes, these are common in MAHA. Finally, we have Bite cells which can be seen with G6PD deficiency. Now, after we have discussed anemia, briefly how to approach it in OPD, let's come on to our case. So our patient was having fatigue, palpitations, breathlessness, increased menstrual bleeding and pica. These all features are characteristic of iron deficiency anemia. So we will order just a CBC. If we see microcytic anemia, we can diagnose this as iron deficiency anemia. But to confirm, we will see the smear of the patient. It will show microcytic hypochromic anemia with pencil cells. RPI will be low in this case. For confirmation, we will have to go for iron profile, which will show decreased ferritin, decreased iron, and increased total iron binding capacity. We will straight away start the patient on parenteral iron therapy. So with this, we have completed our discussion. Finally, there is MCQ for all of you, which you can answer in the comment section. Thank you so much.